Imagine standing on the Las Vegas Strip in 2025. The neon still burns bright, the music still thunders from every casino, but something feels wrong. The sidewalks aren't packed, the tables aren't buzzing, and the workers who once thrived on energy and tips are staring into half-empty rooms. For decades, Vegas promised the same thing to everyone, a chance to feel like a millionaire, whether you were a teacher from Kansas, a retiree from Denver, or a couple from London celebrating an anniversary. That promise built the city's soul, but now that soul is slipping away. Coffee that costs $9 parking, that costs 45 blackjack tables that start at 25. Vegas isn't pricing out the rich, it's pushing away the very people who built it. Tourists who came year after year are walking away, and the employees who gave this city its magic are saying enough is enough. What's left is a version of Vegas that feels cold, corporate, and hollow, more like an expensive theme park in the desert than the great equalizer it once was. So what happened? Why are tourists abandoning Las Vegas, and why are workers sounding the alarm about the Strip's future? In this video, we'll uncover the real stories from visitors and employees, the shocking numbers behind the city's decline, and the bigger picture that explains why Vegas is suddenly empty. And by the end, we'll reveal whether there's still a way for this city to save itself, or if the house has finally made the wrong bet. Las Vegas wasn't always this way. For most of its modern history, it was built on one simple promise: accessibility. Unlike Monaco or Macau, Vegas never claimed to be exclusive. It was the great equalizer, the city where construction workers and CEOs sat at the same tables, where free drinks flowed with every spin of the slot machine, and where a $60 hotel room made anyone feel like they belonged in a palace of lights. The secret of Vegas was never just gambling, it was atmosphere. It was the idea that no matter how much money you had in your pocket, you were treated like a player. That spirit turned the Strip into a global destination, drawing more than 40 million visitors a year and fueling a local economy that thrived on volume rather than exclusivity. But something started to shift in the late 2010s, and the pandemic accelerated it. As corporations tightened their grip on the casinos, the old perks began to vanish. Free parking disappeared. The classic $5 blackjack tables were quietly retired. Slot machines were recalibrated to take more money faster, while drinks once served with a smile arrived slower, if at all. By 2023, hotel rooms that cost $65 in 2010 now averaged over $200 a night, and that was before resort fees and taxes. Families who once budgeted a full week in Vegas now found they couldn't afford even a long weekend. At the same time, marketing shifted away from Middle America and toward a wealthier crowd: tech entrepreneurs, international high rollers, and young crypto millionaires. On paper, it seemed like a smart move, fewer visitors spending more money per person. But underneath, something critical was lost. The energy on the casino floor thinned out. The loyal, repeat customers, the ones who came every year and spread their dollars across restaurants, rideshares, shows, and shops, began to vanish. And without them, the city's working class, the waitresses, the housekeepers, the slot technicians, started to feel the pinch. Vegas had always thrived on inclusivity, but by 2025, it had turned into the opposite, a place where regular people no longer felt welcome, and wealthy visitors didn't care enough to stay loyal. This is the backdrop against which tourists and employees alike began to share their stories. Their voices reveal not just rising prices, but the erosion of the very soul that made Las Vegas legendary. For longtime visitors, the transformation of Las Vegas has been nothing short of heartbreaking. Take Mark, for example, a father from Chicago who spent 15 years bringing his family to Vegas. What started as a fun tradition when his kids were teenagers grew into an annual ritual, one that continued even after they got married and started families of their own. But this year, the tradition came to an abrupt end. His son, now a successful engineer, told him, "Dad, we just can't afford it anymore." If a well-paid professional feels priced out, what hope is there for the average middle-class family? Then there's Sarah from Canada, who thought her 20th wedding anniversary in Vegas would be the celebration of a lifetime. Instead, it turned into a financial nightmare. The hotel bill alone was higher than her monthly mortgage parking cost $45 a night, and the cheapest blackjack table demanded a $25 minimum. She described feeling invisible on the casino floor, ignored by cocktail servers who gravitated toward flashier guests. It felt like they didn't want us there. She admitted her voice carrying the sting of betrayal after 2 decades of loyalty. James, a travel blogger from London, saw the same decline through the eyes of an influencer. For years, he recommended Vegas as the ultimate value proposition, a weekend of over-the-top American excess without breaking the bank. But after paying $300 a night for a basic room and $18 for a sandwich, his tone changed. He told his 300,000 followers that Vegas no longer made sense. "I can go to Barcelona for the same price," he said, "and come back with culture food and memories worth keeping." In one stroke, hundreds of thousands of potential visitors were discouraged from ever setting foot in Nevada. These aren't isolated complaints. They're signals of a larger shift, proof that the very people who built Vegas into a legend are now turning their backs, taking with them not just their money, but their loyalty and love for a city that once welcomed them with open arms. If sticker shock was the first punch, the cold atmosphere was the knockout blow. Tourists who once marveled at how far their money stretched in Vegas now describe a city that feels more like a luxury trap than a playground. A man who had been visiting every March for 11 years with his wife put it bluntly, "This year broke us. What used to be a $65 room was suddenly $240. Instead of the warm, buzzing energy that made Vegas irresistible, he said the vibe was ice cold." His wife whispered words that stung harder than the price tags. "This doesn't feel like Vegas anymore. It feels like a casino wearing a suit." Their solution. They packed up and headed to Nashville instead, where the cost was half and the fun was double. For them, Vegas was gone for good. Others echoed the same disappointment. A couple celebrating their anniversary expected free-flowing drinks, lively tables, and staff that made them feel special. Instead, they were met with minimum bets that killed the thrill and employees who barely looked their way. "We spent more in 3 days than we used to spend in a week," the wife admitted, "and we had zero fun." That one line captures the new Vegas problem: high costs with no payoff. Even international visitors are left bewildered. Emma from Australia recalled how Vegas used to sit on every traveler's bucket list as the authentic American adventure. But now her friends returned home saying it felt like a theme park designed to separate you from your money as quickly as possible. In the past, the Strip was alive with laughter, excitement, and a sense of shared possibility. In 2025, too many visitors leave with only frustration, empty wallets, and the chilling realization that Vegas doesn't want them anymore. If tourists feel like they've lost Vegas, the workers who keep the city alive know it even better. Jessica, a cocktail server with 12 years on the Strip, remembers when the floor was packed with construction workers, teachers, and small business owners, people who tipped generously because they understood what it meant to work for tips. She could walk out on a Friday night with $500 in her pocket, fueled not by high rollers, but by happy, regular people. Now she says the crowds are half empty, and the new clientele spends big but tips small. Young professionals run up $300 tabs, brag about crypto portfolios, and leave 10% on a good night. "I'm looking for another job," she admitted, exhausted. "Vegas used to be fun to work in. Now it's just oppressive." Danny, a slot technician with 15 years of experience, described another shift that most visitors never see. The machines themselves have been tightened. What once returned 92 to 96% of play now often sits at 85%. That means players burn through money twice as fast, killing the entertainment value that kept regulars coming back week after week. His favorite customer, Eddie, used to spend 3 hours on $40. Now Eddie doesn't show up at all. "We're losing all the Eddies," Danny said quietly, "and that's what built this city." Maria, a housekeeper of 18 years, sees the decline in the emptiness of hotel floors during weekdays, whole sections dark and unoccupied, yet quotas remain the same. Tips, once a sign of gratitude, have nearly vanished. Andre, a security guard for 16 years, feels the change in energy, less laughter, more anger, more desperation. The regulars who once made the job enjoyable have disappeared, replaced by people chasing wins they can't afford. Together, these voices form a haunting chorus, workers who know the Strip's heartbeat is fading, even as management pretends nothing is wrong. The numbers behind Vegas tell a story that's even more alarming than the anecdotes. Officially, visitor counts have slipped. 2.8 million fewer people walk the Strip, compared to just a few years ago, a 6.5% decline. On the surface, casinos aren't panicking because gaming revenue is actually up. How the answer lies in who is still showing up. The median household income of Vegas visitors has climbed to $93,000, a far cry from the working-class families and retirees who once filled the slot floors. That means the city has traded reliable middle-class tourists for upper-middle-class spenders and wealthy outliers. At first glance, the strategy looks profitable, with room rates more than doubling since 2019, jumping from $60 to $240 before resort fees. It seems like the casinos are raking in more than ever. Table minimums that once started at $5 now begin at $25, and slot machines drain wallets faster than ever. But beneath those numbers is a dangerous truth. The very people who once fueled the broader economy are disappearing. Middle-class tourists didn't just gamble. They ate at diners, took ride shares, tipped generously, bought show tickets, and spread their money across the city. Their spending supported thousands of workers and businesses. Wealthier visitors, by contrast, stay in suites with private kitchens, shop in luxury boutiques that employ fewer locals, and rely on private transport. Their dollars don't circulate. The result is a hollow kind of prosperity, short-term revenue spikes, paired with long-term instability. Casinos may boast about high-value customers, but the foundation is cracking. Because when those high spenders get bored or move on to the next trendy destination, the Strip won't have its loyal base to fall back on. Vegas is celebrating the wrong victory, and in the process, it may be gambling away its future. What makes the decline even more dangerous is the disappearance of the loyal customers, the people who might not have been whales, but who were the true backbone of Las Vegas. These were the visitors who came every year, sometimes multiple times a year, and who spread their dollars across every layer of the city. They weren't flying in for status or to flaunt wealth. They came for the experience, for the magic that made them feel special, even if they were only playing penny slots or eating at a mid-tier buffet. Workers on the Strip describe these customers with a kind of nostalgia, usually reserved for old friends. The retirees who tipped $20 on a $5 drink because they remembered what it was like to live on wages. The couples who booked the same modest room for anniversaries year after year, bringing energy and joy with them. The families who saved up for a week-long trip, spending carefully but consistently, ensuring restaurants, shows, and shops all thrived. These were the people who made Vegas not just profitable, but alive. Now, many of those regulars have vanished. They complain of rising prices, tighter slots, and a city that no longer welcomes them. They leave reviews that cut deep. Vegas makes regular people feel poor. That one sentence captures the soul of the problem. Vegas was once the great equalizer where everyone had the same shot at fun. But in chasing short-term profits from a wealthy minority, the city has alienated the masses who sustained it for decades. The sense of community that once made strangers feel like family, those things are gone. And if they don't return, the future of Las Vegas will be a glittering shell without a heartbeat. The crisis unfolding in Las Vegas isn't just about one city's decline. It's a mirror held up to a much larger problem in America's tourism economy. At its heart, this story is about accessibility. Vegas built its empire by welcoming the middle class, by giving everyday people the chance to feel extraordinary for a few days. When that accessibility disappeared, so did the loyalty that kept the city thriving. And this isn't unique to Nevada. Across the United States, destinations that once prided themselves on inclusivity are becoming playgrounds for the wealthy, pricing out the very visitors who gave them life. The data makes the problem crystal clear. Visitor numbers are down, but revenue is up because fewer people are spending more. It's the same logic that fuels luxury brands chasing margin instead of mass appeal. But tourism doesn't work like selling handbags. When you hollow out the middle, you hollow out the soul. Cities like Nashville and Austin have stepped into the void, offering affordable, fun live music and authentic experiences that resonate with Middle America. These cities aren't trying to be Monaco, they're trying to be themselves, and that's why they're growing. Meanwhile, Vegas is trying to reinvent itself as something it never was: exclusive, high-end, untouchable, and the gamble isn't paying off. International comparisons are even starker. In Barcelona, visitors spend less per night than in Vegas, but they leave with memories tied to culture, food, and history, things money can't artificially inflate. In New Orleans, despite its own challenges, the soul of the city is still rooted in music, food, and inclusivity. Vegas, by contrast, is losing its narrative. It no longer offers the democratic dream that once made it the ultimate American experience. It offers higher bills, colder service, and a fleeting sense of glamour that most people can't afford. The consequences ripple far beyond the Strip. Service workers who once relied on tips are leaving, taking with them decades of experience and the human touch that made Vegas special. When workers like Jessica and Danny walk away, they're not just abandoning jobs, they're signaling that the model no longer works for the people on the ground. Their absence weakens the entire fabric of the city, creating a downward spiral that no amount of corporate PR can mask. And here's the real danger: Vegas is chasing a customer base that is inherently fickle. Wealthy tourists have choices. They can fly to Macau, Dubai, or Singapore. They can vacation in Europe, where luxury is paired with culture. They are not loyal to Las Vegas, and they never will be. Middle-class visitors, on the other hand, were reliable. They returned year after year, brought friends, and treated Vegas as a tradition. By abandoning them, the city has sacrificed stability for volatility. This is why the story of Las Vegas should be a warning for the rest of the country. When cities optimize only for short-term profits and high-income demographics, they risk destroying the ecosystems that sustain them. Accessibility isn't just a marketing slogan, it's the foundation of longevity. Vegas's decline shows us what happens when you forget that. It stops being a city of dreams and starts being just another overpriced destination in the desert. So the question becomes bigger than Vegas itself. How many other places in America are following the same path? How many other tourist hubs are trading inclusivity for exclusivity, mistaking revenue spikes for long-term health? The glittering lights of the Strip may hide the cracks for now, but they can't disguise a truth that should concern everyone: a city that forgets its people. Both visitors and workers is a city that gambles with its own survival. If Las Vegas wants to survive, and not just survive but thrive, it has to remember what made it magical in the first place. The good news is that the path forward isn't impossible. It doesn't require tearing down the Strip or reinventing the city as something it was never meant to be. It requires returning to the basics: accessibility, loyalty, and value. The first step is addressing hidden costs. Resort fees, parking charges, and endless markups have become a punchline among tourists. Eliminating or at least reducing these charges would send an immediate signal that Vegas wants to rebuild trust. Cities like Nashville and Austin have proven that transparency builds loyalty. Tourists want to know what they're paying for and feel that they're getting fair value in return. Next, the casinos must bring back the sense of possibility that once defined the Strip. That means restoring lower limit tables and looser slots. A $5 blackjack table might not generate the same short-term profit as a $25 table, but it creates something far more valuable: volume and excitement. When middle-class visitors can sit down and feel part of the action, they stay longer, they spend more broadly, and they leave wanting to return. Even adjusting slot machine return to player percentages back toward 92–96% would give players the entertainment value that kept them loyal for decades. Vegas also needs to reinvest in its workers. The stories of Jessica, Danny, Maria, and Andre prove that morale on the Strip is collapsing. Service workers aren't just employees, they're the lifeblood of the Vegas experience. Improving wages, restoring tip culture through better policies, and showing genuine appreciation for employees would revive the energy that made every cocktail, every room cleaning, every encounter feel like part of the show. Happy workers create happy tourists, and that ripple effect is priceless. Marketing must also shift. Chasing whales and luxury travelers is a strategy that will always have diminishing returns. Instead, Vegas should highlight the very experiences that made it iconic, affordable entertainment, free-flowing perks, and the feeling that anyone can have a taste of the high life. Show families that they can once again afford a trip. Show retirees that they're still welcome at the slots. Remind the world that Vegas is a place where everyone belongs, not just those with six-figure incomes. Finally, the city should diversify what it offers without abandoning its soul. Music festivals, food experiences, and cultural events can supplement gaming revenue while appealing to a wider demographic. Nashville and Austin have shown that authenticity sells. If Vegas blends its unique brand of spectacle with accessible, authentic experiences, it can reclaim its throne as America's playground. The truth is simple: the Strip doesn't need to reinvent itself as Monaco. It needs to rediscover what made it different from Monaco in the first place. By shedding predatory pricing, bringing back inclusivity, empowering workers, and embracing authenticity, Vegas could win back the middle class that built it. The city has always been about possibility, about the idea that anyone could roll the dice and feel like they mattered. If Las Vegas chooses to embrace that again, it won't just survive the crisis of 2025. It will prove once more that in the desert, dreams can still come true. Las Vegas hasn't disappeared, but it has lost something more valuable than money, its soul. The Strip still glitters, the casinos still hum, but the energy that once made this city, the great equalizer, has faded into memory. For decades, Vegas thrived on the idea that anyone could step into the neon lights and feel like they mattered. Today, it risks becoming just another overpriced destination in the desert, a place where money speaks louder than people. That's not the Vegas that built legends. That's not the Vegas that millions fell in love with. The voices of tourists and workers tell us the same story: higher prices, colder service, and a city that seems to care more about squeezing profits than creating magic. But the future isn't written yet. Vegas could choose a different path. It could lower the barriers, bring back the sense of possibility, and remind the world why it was once unlike anywhere else on Earth. The question is, will it, or will the house keep doubling down on a bet that's already chasing people away? So, what do you think? Can Las Vegas reinvent itself, or has it crossed the point of no return? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear your stories. And if you've ever had your own Vegas experience, good or bad, share it below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden truths shaping our world, and hit that notification bell so you never miss what's next. Vegas may always gamble, but your voice is what makes the odds real.